These are creepy TikToks that will make you rethink your whole reality.
But when the babysitter hears footsteps upstairs, she can be seen frantically grabbing the kid and running outside to the neighbor's house.
First, you probably noticed that swimming in snake venom isn't very different from swimming in water.
Legend has it they resemble humanoid porcupines in their true form but can shapeshift into anything and vanish at will.
They say if you ever call the Red Room number or answer any incoming calls from it, someone will figure out your physical location.
45 minutes, the girl walked in circles around several blocks until she arrived at a skating park and approached a group of strangers.
2 occupants of the Outlander were killed, and the driver was brought to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
So you be bad, huh? I don't move over for no one. They call me the king of pop.
Woo! I'm back. It's your boy Fittie to the E, and today I got this compilation for you. And trust me when I say this is crazy, so you want to watch it again. And if you guys like the chain, because I know a lot of people have been loving the chain, just check the link down in the description. I've been trying to tell y'all, man. We got multiple customers buying each day. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys like it, please check them out. They're good quality. And let's just jump right into the video.
To anyone who may be triggered by these topics, or anyone who's faint of heart, please keep scrolling. Serial killers from every U.S. state, Part 4. Arkansas. The Phantom Killer. Although this killer was never identified, and actually spanned 2 states, the Phantom Killer earns his spot on the list for the terror he caused in 1946. Every 3 weeks to the day, this murderer would shoot a couple to death in their car. Eventually, movie theaters canceled shows, people stayed inside behind locked doors, and very few ventured outside. The town of Texarkana, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, which spans Texas and Arkansas, lived in fear as he apparently attacked 8 people and killed 5. Just as fast as the killing started, though, they suddenly stopped. The Phantom Killer was never identified, but the terror he left in the small town was never lost, ultimately inspiring the classic horror film, The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
I don't know if it's just me, but I don't know why people always just want to just hurt people for no reason. Like, with me, I'm like, bro, if you give me a reason, it's gonna happen. But like, for no reason, it makes it... I feel like that's where the mental illness side of some killers come from, you know what I'm saying?
Disturbing moments caught on live TV, Part 3. As the hosts question the couple, the rocking chair in which the doll is sitting suddenly begins to rock back and forth. As the camera films one family organizing their event, a bouquet of flowers can be seen inexplicably lifting out of its vase and throwing itself across the room. During a news coverage in Japan, some viewers spotted a mysterious black bird repeatedly vanishing and reappearing.
That's how you know you on some haunted ground. If a black crow type bird just keeps coming back, yeah, nah, I'll just be out of there immediately.
This college dorm room is so haunted they had to permanently close it to students. This is Ohio University's room 428. The only known case where an American university sealed a dorm is room 428 in Wilson Hall at Ohio University. Students aren't allowed to so much as step foot inside that room, and for good reason. You gotta hear this. 428 is permanently closed due to the numerous reports of hauntings and dangerous paranormal activity in the room. It all started in the 1970s when a male student passed away in room 428 under mysterious circumstances, meaning no one could agree on what happened to this young man. And after that, things started getting really weird. Years later, a female student moved in and used the room's energy to practice rituals. Not long after moving in, she passed away mysteriously as well. And once again, no one could really agree on a reason why. And ever since the two, anyone who moved into the dorm reported terrifying occurrences at all hours of the day and night. Objects would fly across the room on their own accord. Students would hear disembodied voices, whispering, and even shouting, even though there was no one there. And even stranger, haunting faces kept appearing in the wood grain of the room's door. This happened over and over. The school even replaced the door many times, but the faces would always reappear. Eventually, it got to be too much. They were getting complaints and calls about this room all the time. And the university decided to seal the door shut forever. And this is the only known case where a dorm room has been sealed off in the United States. Mediums have found that this building is located at the center of 5 ancient cemeteries, and room 428 is some kind of a portal. This really reminds me of Dudleytown. Just one horrible event after another, and eventually they have to close it. What are your thoughts on room 428?
I feel like a lot of buildings that people stay in nowadays are low-key built on the cemeteries, which is kind of strange. Like, is that intentional, or do they just like, whatever, and just build it? Because I'm pretty sure you got to dig deep for like the piping, the wiring, and all that. I don't know. I'm not even too sure about all that. But if you guys know, put it down in the comments.
To anyone who may be triggered by these topics, or anyone who's faint of heart, please keep scrolling. Serial killers from every U.S. state, Part 3. Arizona. Mark Gradillo, aka the Baseline Killer. Mark Gradillo became known as the Baseline Killer when he terrorized the Phoenix, Arizona community in the summer of 2006. He would attack women during their daily lives. One woman was simply vacuuming her car when he brutally assaulted and murdered her. Another woman met a similar fate when she was just waiting at a bus stop. They were all found in pools of their blood, with their pants pulled halfway down. In total, Gradillo was found guilty of killing 9 people, most of them women. In 2016, his 9 death sentences were upheld in Phoenix. At the time of this recording, he is still alive and in prison.
I'm really happy they locked that guy up. Me personally, bro, I don't know what was going through his head, but all I know is that at least he's in prison now. It's good. W justice system.
These are scary things to do with your friends, part 1. This is the red room number. And they say if you dial the number, you will hear garbled voices and scary music. And as you stay on the line, a very distinct voice will deliver creepy messages to you. They say if you ever call the red room number or answer any incoming calls from it, someone will figure out your physical location, kidnap you, and then bring you to a red room, which is a place where people go to get tortured and killed. This is extremely scary and will definitely give you and your friends some sort of excitement. But be careful because nobody wants to go to the red room.
Are y'all trying to go to the red room? Because best believe I'm not going there. Hell no.
Scary stalkers caught on camera. This video shows a girl while recording a man with a face mask following her on the road. Initially, she thought that he might be someone walking in the same direction, so she slowed down to let him walk past her, but the guy slowed down with her. For 45 minutes, the girl walked in circles around several blocks until she arrived at a skating park and approached a group of strangers. She asked them to help her and told them what was going on, finally getting rid of the man when someone tried to confront him about his actions.
You know, I've seen that clip about 5 times, and every time I see it, I think like, yo, this gotta be the worst stalker I've ever seen in my existence. How you gonna be stalking a girl but walking beside her like your Secret Service? Like, what? But nah, I'm not gonna lie, man. Strange people out there, dude. That's why y'all gotta be careful.
This is why you should never believe in coincidences. This story is called The Human Chair by Junji Ito, and it's one of the most terrifying things I've ever read. So the main character, Hayama, is a writer, and one day she walks into a furniture store looking to buy a chair, but the owner of the store tells her that he has a special armchair, and that this armchair has a fascinating backstory. He said that this chair used to belong to a famous author named Yoshiko, and one day Yoshiko received an anonymous manuscript in the mail titled The Human Chair. The manuscript went on to describe a carpenter who fell in love with the chairs that he made, to the point where he lived inside them. This terrified Yoshiko, as the chair that she had in her study room looked very similar to the one described in the manuscript. A few days later, Yoshiko's husband left town and Yoshiko received a letter. The letter said, "I know your armchair is an essential item for your work. Your body can't live without mine, and my body can't live without yours either. I hope for the day you and I can become one." Hayama then asked the owner of the furniture store, was the letter from the carpenter? And what happened to Yoshiko in the end? He replied that eventually her career as a writer failed and she disappeared without a trace. But then he starts peeling open the armchair. And this next image is too disturbing to show you, so just imagine. As the owner of the furniture store opened up the armchair, he revealed Yoshiko and the carpenter still inside decades later. He said Yoshiko lost her mind and decided to live the rest of her life with the carpenter inside the chair. and they even had children. The armchair was then passed down from generation to generation, and the owner of the furniture shop is their descendant, tasked with taking care of the chair and the two bodies inside of it. Then he said what might have been the most terrifying thing. He said, "Your name is Hayama, right? I've read your work before. Don't worry, as long as we find you the perfect chair, you won't have any more problems in your future, I can promise you that."
Unintentionally disturbing characters from children's shows, Part 2. The Scary Lion, from Teletubbies, was a very intimidating and frightening monster in one of the numerous sketches in the show.
I'm the Scary Lion.
EC, from Liftoff, was a genderless and faceless doll that was supposed to represent every child of Australia. The Wiggle Puppets, from The Wiggles, were puppets with high-pitched voices modeled after the Wiggles characters.
Creepy cryptids from around the world, Part 15. Pukwudgies. A Pukwudgie is a 2 to 3 feet tall being from Wampanoag folklore. The physical features of a Pukwudgie resemble those of a human, but with enlarged noses, fingers, and ears. Their skin is described as being smooth gray, and at times having been known to glow. In Native American lore, Pukwudgies have the following traits and abilities. They can appear and disappear at will. They can transform into a hybrid of a porcupine, troll, and human that walks upright. They can attack people and lure them to their deaths. They are able to use magic. They possess poison arrows. They can create fire at will. And Pukwudgies control Tai Pai Wankins, which are believed to be the souls of Native Americans they have killed. Native Americans believe that Pukwudgies were best left alone. When you see a Pukwudgie, you are not supposed to mess with them, or they will repay you by playing nasty tricks on you, or following you home and causing trouble. They were once friendly to humans, but then turned against them. They are known to kidnap people, use sand to blind their victims, push people off cliffs, and attack their victims with a collection of short knives and spears. Though the exact tales and powers associated with Pukwudgies may vary from tribe to tribe, all of them agree that if you see a Pukwudgie, stay away and don't let their size deceive you.
Some of the most terrifying police sketches aren't always of suspects, but some of them are of the victims. And this one from Richmond, Virginia is one of the more unsettling that I've come across recently. An unknown woman who was found with a very unusual description, reportedly only 4'10", with a buzzed head and an unusually elongated face. She was described as extremely dehydrated, with the skin of her hands beginning to peel away. They haven't released any additional details, but whoever she was remains an unknown, and whoever did this to her is still out there.
I'm not gonna lie to you, when that face popped up, I got terrified. I was like, yo, what? Is that like even a real sketch of someone for real?
This is what would happen if you fell into a pool full of snake venom.
Okay, so if you were to swim in snake venom, there's a good chance you wouldn't die. First, you probably noticed that swimming in snake venom isn't very different from swimming in water.
And it wouldn't really smell like anything. And if you accidentally happen to taste the snake venom, it would actually taste somewhat sweet.
Swimming in venom really wouldn't do anything to you, unless you have an open wound.
If you went into a pool full of venom with an open cut, it wouldn't be good for you at all.
The venom would quickly seep into your veins and give you a number of issues, mainly blood clotting.
This would eventually clog your blood vessels and would lead to you dying from a stroke or a heart attack.
I mean, I don't know who would be filling their pool with snake venom, but if that was the case and someone did, why would you want to swim in that? That's kind of strange. So you're telling me if you accidentally swallow it, somehow your stomach and intestines are just going to filter it out before it gets into your bloodstream? But if it goes directly into your bloodstream from an open sore or cut, you're going to instantly get blood clots and die? Huh? Yo. Making me think if I have any open cuts, bro. Because you know, sometimes you don't even know if you have open cuts.
The creepypasta of Carmen Winstead. Carmen was a young girl who just moved out to Indiana, and she was relentlessly bullied, particularly by this group of girls who were set out to ruin this girl's life. During a school fire drill, the girls thought it would be funny if they cornered her near this open sewer, try to get her to fall down, get her covered in sewage, and embarrass her. So they surround her, and she falls in, but when she falls, she hits her face on the side wall and scrapes off the entire front of her face, lands on her neck, which snapped backwards. None of the girls owned up to pushing her or surrounding her. They just said that they saw her fall. This was a tragic accident. Months would pass when suddenly the whole school starts getting this string of anonymous messages saying that what happened to Carmen wasn't an accident, she was pushed. They never found out who sent these messages though. Not long after that, one of the girls who was responsible claimed she could hear whispering and laughing in the shower, which she believed was coming from the drain. One by one, all of those girls met their end in a very similar way.
Yeah, nah, man. That does sound kind of tragic. Like, she really fell and, like... It's a tragic way to go, mostly in front of all those people.
A mysterious voice inside this woman's head told her that she had a brain tumor. And she did. Years back, a woman in England was living a very normal life as a housewife. She was married with kids and had always been really healthy. She was sitting at home reading one day when she suddenly heard a very clear voice inside her head say, quote, "Please do not be afraid. I know it must be shocking for you to hear me speaking to you like this, but this is the easiest way I could think of. My friend and I used to work at Children's Hospital Great Ormond Street, and we would like to help you." The woman was completely shocked, but the voice was so distinct and clear. The woman had heard of this children's hospital, but had absolutely no ties to it. The voice then spoke to her again and said, "To help you see that we are sincere, we would like you to check the following." The voice then gave her 3 separate pieces of information, all of which she didn't know at the time. She was instructed to check these out, and when she did, she found they were all true. The distinct voice in her head ultimately urged her to go to the doctor, and the woman did. And after a series of assessments, she was eventually diagnosed with a large benign brain tumor. And this voice continued talking to the woman throughout all of her medical testing, guiding her through. The tumor had to be removed, and after her surgery to remove it, the woman heard from the voice one last time. After regaining consciousness from the procedure, she heard them say, "We are pleased to have helped you. Goodbye." And just like that, the voices were gone. The woman fully recovered and never heard from these voices ever again. Some say these were just hallucinations induced by the brain tumor, but many others believe that this was supernatural. This woman was being contacted by these voices from beyond.
Nah, that's actually really, really creepy. I'm not gonna lie. But if you ask me, that sounds like more of a blessing than a curse. But imagine a voice in your head. I was like, yo, bro, you actually have the influenza virus like going around in your body right now. I recommend going to the doctor before we lose this battle. So yeah, like imagine. And another thought I had too was like, your body doesn't give you signs that you have like cancer. Because I'm thinking about it, like if you have a brain tumor, right? They said it was a big brain tumor. Like, doesn't she have headaches, maybe migraines? Doesn't she feel off? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking like if you have lung cancer, liver cancer, like don't you have signs? You know what I'm saying? Or is it just like, oh, you're just good and then the tumor gets to like the greatest degree, then you start like what?
To anyone who may be triggered by these topics, or anyone who's faint of heart, please keep scrolling. Serial killers from every U.S. state, Part 5. California. Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper is a particularly brutal serial killer who killed 10 young people, earning him the title of the Co-Ed Killer. Before earning this moniker, he killed his grandparents at age 15 and was in jail for only 2 years. In the early 70s, Kemper started to pick up young hitchhikers who ended up being students at Fresno State. He eventually escalated to killing them and cutting their heads off. On some occasions, it was even reported that he defiled the corpses. Right before he was caught, he killed his own mother by smashing her head with a hammer and decapitating her. He was found guilty on 8 counts of first-degree murder. He is currently still serving his sentence in prison.
Nah, bro. People that kill their own parents, oh my God, that's some deep-rooted trauma. Like, why would you ever do that? But then again, you got to look at it like depends on how the parents used to treat the kid as a child. But like, still, man, that's kind of scary. If the mom treated him right throughout all the childhood and he came back and did that to her,
Disturbing things caught on security cameras, Part 6. This security footage shows an intruder walking around a house looking for various valuables. The guy had only broken into the house seconds earlier by smashing a window while the house owner's kid and their babysitter were out running errands. When the two return home, the kid can be seen walking around the kitchen, but when the babysitter hears footsteps upstairs, she can be seen frantically grabbing the kid and running outside to the neighbor's house, followed by the intruder running away.
Nah, man, that's scary, dude. I don't know if I'm bugging, but on the security camera, it looked like he was recording that he broke into someone's house. That's kind of weird, bro. You're just really setting yourself up for failure at that point.
There was a possible terrorist attack in Rochester, New York yesterday, and an investigation is being led by the Joint Terrorism Task Force. 2 people were killed after a Ford Expedition hit a Mitsubishi Outlander that was exiting a parking lot near the Kodak Center in Rochester, New York, according to the city's police chief. 2 occupants of the Outlander were killed, and the driver was brought to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the Ford Expedition also died. First responders found at least a dozen gasoline canisters in and around the Ford Expedition once the fire was extinguished. Police say they're working with the FBI on this case. 3 pedestrians were also struck in the crash, 1 with life-threatening injuries and 2 with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators executed search warrants and did interviews overnight to learn more about the driver, who was not immediately identified, and we don't yet know what was going on in his life. The crash happened just after midnight yesterday near a crosswalk as concert-goers were leaving a nearby venue. Authorities don't yet know for sure whether this was terrorism, but they are investigating it that way until they can determine what happened and why.
Yeah, I actually heard about that recently. It's kind of strange, man. In my opinion, that is kind of sketchy that there were like gas canisters around the car and stuff like that. If you ask me, it could have been, but who knows, man. Sometimes people just be doing stuff just to do stuff.
This is how I always remembered Michael Jackson's voice sounding.
It's a hard situation. It is. And it's something I have to put up with.
But Michael played us. That voice we're used to was one he created for his pop star persona.
You know that voice, Michael Jackson's voice that you hear all the time, like, oh yeah, like that wasn't talking like that. Like it was like low-key deep.
So finally, after a couple of hours, almost the Brazilian officials leave, Spike leaves, and Michael just sitting there with my friend. He said, at a certain point, Michael looked up and said, damn, I thought those motherfuckers weren't gonna never leave. Now, and he says, hold up, and he says this, not in, damn, I don't think these motherfuckers are gonna never leave. He says it like a black man would say, damn, I thought the motherfuckers were gonna never leave. Then he got up and walked out. And my friend was saying, he was sitting there like,
There's not many recordings or videos of Michael using his real voice, but there is one. In 1999, Michael allowed Midway to use his likeness and voice in Ready to Rumble Boxing, in which he opted to use his actual voice for his character.
So you be bad, huh? I don't move over for no one. They call me the king of pop. I'm gonna dance all over you. Don't tango with the king of pop.
Yeah, no, that's actually crazy how people can manipulate the tone of their voice, because I've actually heard that Michael Jackson uses that like, hey guy, like that, you know, baby kind of voice to like train that high pitch vocal in his throat. I don't even know, bro. I don't know how none of that shit works, but that's what I've heard. So that's kind of cool how he like can change it like that. From, if you ask me, that's low-key like some talent right there, dude. R.I.P. Michael Jackson, he was the GOAT. I know a lot of people, a lot of new artists have been like hitting his records, close to his records, but now we have the internet, bro. It's 10 times. If Michael Jackson had the internet like what we have right now, his records would be like untouchable, bro. But just because the internet wasn't around when he was really, really popping, so in my opinion, I don't really think any artist nowadays is even really close to Michael Jackson. Like, I'm sorry. Not Drake, not Taylor Swift, none of them off. Like, they have the internet to their advantage. Not even Kanye West, bro. Like, none of them, no. Michael Jackson's in his own league. Like, and no one's coming close to that anytime soon. But anyways, if you guys liked the video, remember to check the chains out. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Can't wait to start the vlog content soon. Peace out.